we ain't got to do too much talking about this next one. I'm
No.
going to just go ahead and reveal it for everybody. Everybody in the ECG collectively gave a gold star to Boise State, which this is the first time that this has happened this season so far. This is the first one that we've done where all of us agree on who the winner is.
Aside from the Pac-12, because that doesn't really count if we're being honest right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so, it is what it is. But, I mean, who else, right? I mean, what a prediction that I had last year with, all of us collectively talking about 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀 could be the best running back last year, and he was. He even exceeded our expectation.
Yeah.
The prediction about Maddox Madsen being, the breakout quarterback of the Mountain West, and he definitely was. And then some of their return in production as well as, something that we can't ignore. I mean, outside of him, we have a running back that you had talked about ad nauseum, the other day. But if people don't know, 𝙎𝙤𝙘𝗀𝗋𝗓 that not only, is ready to break out, but has shown little glimpses here and there on what he could be about. And his short time and his short production on his 20 carries, 156 yards, 7.8 yards a carry. And that was just last year, right? Then you bring in a guy from Fresno that could be a cannon as well. And his redshirt senior year with Fresno State and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, I've seen, I watched a couple Fresno State games last year. I remember him having some really good runs. But I really think the game record on this team that nobody's going to give credit for. And when we talk about tight ends next season, Matt Loiter is going to be in that conversation as one of the better tight ends in the country. Mark my words that this is going to happen. The dude is dynamic. He is this year's Gunnar Helm when you watch him play. Can go up there and snatch any pass that's out there. He had 619 yards and 7 touchdowns last year on a team where they had a 2,600-yard running back, right? And I want to see what Latrell Caples does. They lost Cameron Camper is not going to be there this year. So they're going to look for a guy to step up in his place, and it's probably going to be a Latrell Caples. 473 yards and 5 touchdowns, 12.4 yards in average. The thing is about this whole team that I like is they had 2 transfer starters that came in. Deion Washington comes in from Hawaii, which is hilarious, with 2 sacks as a nose tackle. And then their place kicker, Evan Keeley, comes in from Sacramento State. 2 positions that they needed. They went in. Spencer Danielson went in and got what he needed. But their return in production is what's so impressive here. And that cohesive unit that's still there. Look, the crazy thing about this, and I'm going to let Khalid go, but this is the last point that I'll make. That offensive line is one of the best in the country. And now they're going to have a second year after having the season that they had with 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀, with 𝙎𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and Malik Sherrod now, they were number 25 in the country. And somebody said they were okay. Number 25 out of 135 schools is fantastic. Let's not get this confused, right?
Especially for a team in the Mountain West. I mean, come on.
Dude, regardless of what you want to say about 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, he had 100 yards against Penn State. I don't care if he ran the ball 50 times and got 100 yards. That was the number 1 rushing defense in the country. You don't get 100 yards without your offensive line being at least some type of good, right? And they held their own for the most part. I mean, going against Abdul Carter and those guys, most definitely you had to come in and show your best shit.
Yeah.
And they did. And now they're coming back after that was the last game that they played last season. Man, it's crazy. And then you just look at their schedule and it's like they're about to wipe the floor with everybody. They could have said outside of Notre Dame, but like everybody else, it's going to be they just gonna wipe the floor with everybody, man. It's gonna be insane this year. But go ahead and spit game, man.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers across the conference, I brought up UNLV's returning production mark, but Boise State returned 67% of their total production, 75% from offense, 59% from their defense, which that total returning production rank happens to be 13th in the entire country. So not only is the best team in the conference from 2024 returning the 13th most production in the entire country, but that is by far the best mark in the Mountain West. And they return over 200 starts on their team, the only Mountain West team to do so. They actually have 50 more returning starts than the team in the Mountain West in second. So in terms of returning starters, right, they not only return a lot of them, but they return a lot of very experienced starters. For Boise State, right, they're not going to try to rebuild after an epic year with 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀, right? And
what happened? Hold on one second. I don't know what happened.
Am I back now?
You're back now. All right, cool.
Let's go. What was the last thing I said on air?
You were talking about 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Yeah. You lose 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀, right? And you lose other key players like sign in on the defensive line. And you kind of go from that and you're like, all right, well, we just won the conference. We just have one of the best rushing seasons of all time from one player. What do we do, right? You generally think you're kind of in a little bit of a rebuild mode, but that's certainly not the case, right? They're just reloading. I mean, we talked to you. You mentioned both Sire Gaines and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, who, by the way, I wanted 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 to do well last season because I really thought he would. He had a little bit of a down year after having an incredible 2023 season in terms of efficiency, but he brings a very strong presence in the receiving game out of the backfield that I think will be very good fit in this offense that really was all ground and pound. But we saw in the past with 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, he was effective as a receiver. I think having both Sire Gaines and 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 being able to, interchange responsibilities there will be really good for this team in general. So that way they can change things up and how they use their running backs. But when you look at the production, when you look at who they add, especially when you consider that 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's coming over from a conference rival, right? This is a team that's ready to win the conference again. This is a team that's looking to win not just the conference, but they're also looking to make the playoffs again, right? This team is still hungry for more. They're not going to sit here and just be like, oh, 𝗕𝙤𝙀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's gone, missed our chance. This is a team who fully believes that they can and will win the conference, make the playoffs again, and then win a game this time around, right? They're not doing they're doing straight seeding 1 through 12. It's not the top 4 conference champions who get the 1 through 4 seed. It's just straight seeding, right? Based off of the final college football playoff rankings.
Their ranking was in the final week, that's where they
exactly. So the way that I'm looking at this, and I'm sure that Boise State is looking at it, they're like, man, that's just because people didn't want a team like us to have a first round bye. Well, we need to go out there and prove them wrong, right? We need to not just make the playoffs, but we need to go out there and win a game and show them that we really do belong. And returning your quarterback and that awesome offensive line is a big part in doing that. The emergence of Sire Gaines, though, and the addition of 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 are the two, those two pieces I think are so important in maintaining a consistent identity for this team while also doing a little bit more, keeping guys fresh, because I'm hoping that they utilize them both a lot rather than really leaning just on one. right? Ashton Jeanty got a lot of carries. I hope that all those carries are split amongst multiple people and not really consolidated with just one other guy, right? I don't want Sire Gaines to just get all the carries Ashton Jeanty got. I want him and Malik Sherrod to share touches, to be able to stay fresh over the course of the season, to both showcase what they're able to do, because I think that's going to be what's best for this Boise State team. We all had them as our number one team in the Mountain West. That's, in my opinion, they're very clearly the front runner due to all their returning players. But I think the offensive line coming back, man, that is quite literally the biggest reason why I had them as my number one team in the Mountain West, because Maddox Madsen's coming back and new running backs. They love a good offensive line.
Because it doesn't matter. I think we can look back on this season and say if they don't have a good running back, then it was his own fault, right? It's like it's like Daniel Jones with the Colts. If he sucks with all those receivers up there, it's his own fault. I mean, at this point in time, there's nothing else to say. It's you should have done better than you did, because we've gave you no excuse to be bad. So Boise's going to be awesome again this year. They always are, for the most part. They always come in and run the Mountain West for the most part as well. It's always been them or Fresno, and sprinkling a little bit of UNLV. We talked about this the other day too, but at this point in time, they just got too much juice. They're good. They're good without Jeanty being there, which is the crazy part. So we'll see what happens, man.